The dispute between Qatar Airways and Airbus in the early 2020s certainly made headlines right around the world, leading to the Doha-based carrier expressing quite a fair bit of disdain for the planemaker that it once trusted and had a very close working relationship with. The concerns centered around surface degradation on the Airbus A350 aircraft type. The issue, which Qatar Airways' CEO Akbar Al-Baker described as a critical safety matter, it became one of the industry's most talked about legal issues. Moreover, the fallout at the time was certainly significant, with Airbus expressing their concerns alongside Qatar Airways, order cancellations, delivery suspensions, aircraft groundings, and more. But what really happened, and why did Qatar Airways hate Airbus? At the beginning of 2021, Qatar Airways discovered that the surface paint on several A350 aircraft was beginning to peel and crack, and as a result, this exposed the protection layer and caused concern for the company. The airline claimed that the issue posed serious safety risks, grounding over 20 aircraft and escalating the matter to the Qatar's Aviation regulator. Airbus countered that the damage was purely cosmetic and noted that it didn't see reporting of such damage anywhere else in the world. The European Union's Aviation Safety Agency supported Airbus's stance on this matter, clarifying that the problem did not endanger the flight safety protocols that Qatar Airways claimed. Despite Airbus's response, the Doha-based carrier stood firm. It kept A350 family planes grounded and continued to be very outspoken about what was happening. And when you see the video evidence, the damage was certainly damning. Airbus grew increasingly alarmed at the potential broader consequences of the dispute. It feared that if Qatar Airways' highly public criticisms continued, it would damage the reputation of the broader A350 program. At worst, this damage and poor customer feedback could impact airlines looking at purchasing the aircraft initially, who may now think twice at such a decision moving forward. As the A350 remains a flagship model and a critical competitor to Boeing, any real erosion in confidence from customers would have really impacted Airbus's market share across key locations. The dispute really culminated in a major lawsuit filed by Qatar Airways against Airbus. The airline sought compensation for damages and grounded aircraft in the hundreds of millions, accusing Airbus also of really downplaying the severity of the problem. Airbus retaliated in fashion that is not typically seen, no doubt escalating the tensions further by actually cancelling an order Qatar Airways had placed for the A320neo family jet and suspending deliveries of A350s, freeing up these planes to really head elsewhere. Airbus felt that Qatar Airways, who at the time, it has to be said, had also refused to take on new planes, didn't deserve the new aircraft, and these units could be better placed with airlines that were really supporting the business rather than causing uproar. As the disagreement escalated, both parties presented their cases in a pretty public manner, with Airbus alleging that Qatar may have exaggerated the extent of the damage for leverage. That leverage is really crucial when taking a look at airlines' relationship with aircraft manufacturers. On several occasions, we have seen specific aircraft programs go through a pretty tough period, and in response, airlines that, say, have previously relied heavily on this plane may go to that respective plane maker and leverage the poor situation to really secure something like a better deal for the future, or even adjust their delivery schedules, leveraging those problems. This has definitely been seen with Boeing across recent times. Airbus also continued to emphasize, however, that no other operator of the popular A350 had been forced to ground its fleet, or had even openly came out and raised safety concerns, suggesting that the problems Qatar Airways were facing was something they were also experiencing. Now, while issues can certainly be isolated, Airbus was arguing that this simply wasn't the case. By the beginning of 2023, interestingly, Airbus had made design changes to the A350 fuselage in a bid to try and resolve the dispute that had been ongoing with the Doha-based airline. It was a very important move, as while Airbus stated that the design of the aircraft it had initially rolled out was safe, there was still in the end a decision made to make a change for the layering in new deliveries to prevent this problem from occurring. Moreover, by early 2023, in fact by the second month of that year, Airbus and Qatar reached an undisclosed agreement to end the continued back and forth. Critically, neither party actually admitted that they were at fault, but agreed to really work together on repairs for the affected A350s, and had basically settled all their differences in the background, then being able to really resume their working relationship. Airbus reinstated Qatar's cancelled orders after some time, however, obviously then delivery slots were not necessarily the same as they once were because of all those complications, and while Qatar certainly would probably remain a little bit cautious, the trust that was built in the early stages is now being rebuilt. Despite the circumstances that unfolded, Airbus knew it needed to resolve the matter, as the perception of the A350 product was at risk. Furthermore, the restoration of a relationship with Qatar Airways, one of its highest profile customers, was another defining factor of why this just had to be sorted. This saga represented a fascinating period for the broader industry, and really showed just how fragile a manufacturer and airline's relationship can be, and it shouldn't be taken for granted. For Airbus, the conflict was a reputational challenge. It raised questions about the quality control processes amid its most popular widebody. Equally, from the other angle, there was the belief that Qatar had very valid points for their aircraft should simply not have looked how they did. Others felt that they were maybe exaggerating the damage in the sense of leading to aircraft groundings to leverage those frustrations for a bigger reason. Both parties ultimately did face their reputational risks and were able to eventually come to a settlement to move forward, repair the damage, and obviously the relationship. I'd love to hear your take down below in the comments. Thanks a bunch for your support on GlobeTrotting. Take care, and I'll see you in a couple of days for more industry analysis and lookbacks.